Very well, ladies and gentlemen. So again, another episode wherein we're going to talk about some transfer news. Now you've been wondering why have I, come early during the day because of course today we have a game and I could not produce those news. It would be late by 1, so that's why I'm actually producing this episode right now. So I hope you'll enjoy it. And more importantly, we're going to talk about Calvin Phillips. He's definitely doing things that it feels that he might want to come to Arsenal. I'd love that, but yeah, he's just recovering from an injury and one of the players that who's not available for Leeds tonight for against Arsenal's game. So let's talk about the whole Aubameyang saga is turning good, it's turning from bad to worse now because here's the reality what's actually happening. So Sammy Mokbel says Arsenal are open to letting Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang go in January and will discuss any offers in next month's window, but a summer exit seems more likely as it stands. We're going to talk about how things escalated or what is this true or not. Arteta on Aubameyang says no, he's not available for selection. On if he has a future at the club, he says for this game he's not available for selection. On what he needs to do to get back in the squad, well, he's not available for the Leeds game, and this is the situation right now. So I've actually seen a lot of Mikel Arteta's press conferences, and when he's tried to repeat things, that means he does not want to say anything more than that. So Aubameyang is not available to the Leeds game. That's all he wants to suggest. But Telegraph say that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is no longer training with Arsenal first team and is expected to work on his own at the club until he leaves for the Africa Cup of Nations. Aubameyang has not gone on strike or refused to train, with the club devising a regime for him to work alone to maintain his fitness at Arsenal's London Colney complex. Both Arsenal and the player expects this situation to continue until he departs for the AFCON. Arteta will have to decide whether or not Aubameyang can be reintegrated into the first team training and his squad for the remainder of the season. Aubameyang has been left in the dark over whether or not Arsenal will try to offload him next month. Now, this is a bigger dilemma. It's Aubameyang who has to make the next move. Sad but true. Now, of course, since it's all about the disciplinary issues, Aubameyang is now arriving, as I already mentioned in my previous episode, that he's now arriving at London Colney 1.5 before everyone, and you're actually overcompensating, man. You have to be on time, and come on, you're the captain. But anyways, Paul Merson has something to say about Arsenal. He says, wait, before getting into Paul Merson, we're also going to talk about Omar Rashford. Now, Arsenal are exploring a January loan option for Omar Rashford. The Athletic understands the club feel Rashford, who is highly thought of at London Colney, needs regular first team exposure and minutes to aid his development. Pre-season game, I saw Omar Rashford. I think one of the centre backs really, developing well. So I think he needs loan as well. Would make a lot of sense. Paul Merson says that Arsenal have got what they deserved with Aubameyang because they never should have given him that contract. He's on far too much money for his age. He hasn't been the same player since he signed it, and he should not come back into the team now, in my opinion. Arsenal, for me, are in this situation again because they let him run down his contract and then gave him a lorry load of money. It's like Ozil all over again. Aubameyang is a great finisher with a great pace, but he's 32. They must have realized he wasn't going to get any quicker. Let's move on about Arteta on Lacazette. He says Alex's performances, involvement and commitment is without question. It's not related to his contract situation. I discussed it in the summer with him, what the situation was, and we are both clear on that. I have always been really pleased with him. Jack Wilshere says, if both Pep and Mikel Arteta rang me tomorrow, if they both offered me 3-year contracts, then I'm going to Arsenal. It's my club and I want to get them back to where they belong. Now, Charles Watts says, Arteta says Jack Wilshere is still 100% good enough to play in the Premier League. He says, if he has any doubts, I can tell him that he is. And he was then asked, is he ready for Arsenal? Mikel says, that's a different story. Okay, we got you, Mikel. We understood what you actually trying to say. What the hell, man? Moving on, Mika Richards on Aubameyang being stripped of captaincy says if he stepped out of the line and breached club protocols, he had to be punished. If a manager decides that is the only course of action, it's difficult to see a way back for the individual. Arteta has looked at the bigger picture and made a stand with Aubameyang. By not meeting Arteta's disciplinary expectations, he disrespected everyone in the dressing room. If you are a captain, that is something you can never do. He was, wasn't he? Moving on, according to Hernan Castillo, he says that Arsenal have inquired about signing Real Betis midfielder Guido Rodriguez. That's not the only source that suggests that, because Alex Gonzalez, there's a news about him as well. So we're going to talk about that. So, wait. Yes. So Alex Gonzalez believes that there is some truth to that as well. Now, funny story that Guido Rodriguez, Arsenal have once again made their official inquiry about Guido Rodriguez. Several months ago, Betis rejected an official offer from Arsenal which they considered insufficient. I remember actually saying that news. So Guido Rodriguez, another workhorse in that midfield, would do wonders. Saliba are not playing at Arsenal. He says, of course, there are times when it's hard. You must not give up. You have to fight. It should not be taken negatively. It must serve as a mental lesson to go further. It gives you a little slap to remind you that you're nobody. I feed on it. I love this mentality from Saliba. Of course, the spot in the squad at Arsenal is open. Arsenal do require centre backs, especially the ones that they've already bought. So, of course, I would want to see Saliba fight for it. Martin Keown Aubameyang says it doesn't look like there's a future for him at Arsenal right now, but let's see what happens. I would not want to lose him. I certainly would not want to lose him to one of Arsenal's rivals. Me too. But moving on, Guardian's predicted lineup for Arsenal versus Leeds. They say that Leeds are going to field like this: Meslier, Llorente, Koch, Dallas Ayling, Click, Forshaw, Harrison Roberts, Rafinha, Gelhardt, Lacazette, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, Jacopate, Tierney, Gabriel, White, Tomiyasu, and Aaron Ramsdale. No changes apart from Smith Rowe starting and no Gabriel Martinelli to start. We'll see about that. Ray Parlour was asked who should be the next Arsenal captain. He says, Tierney, that's what I'd like to see. If Ramsdale was a centre half, he'd be number one choice. We've seen goalkeepers being captains, so what's wrong with that? Anyways, it's his choice and he's completely welcome to say what he feels like. Moving on, Ianis Stoica's father has spoken about, well, there was a derby win and actually his son scored in that. So Ianis Stoica's father says, I had a lot of emotions, but I'm glad it ended well. We have to trust him. He's a good, talented and a promising kid. For now, I want him to play for his club for as long as possible. He's always dreamed of playing and scoring goals. As a parent, I told him to be serious about training, to respect what the coach says and to come up with something extra because he's good enough. So it's pretty much clear. His agent already mentioned that Arsenal's interest is concrete. It's very much real, so we'll see about that. Joe Cole is ecstatic about Gabriel Martinelli, and he says that Martinelli reminds him of two players. One is Aguero, second one is Alexis Sanchez. He says, I left the stadium and I was driving away. I was thinking this is the first time in 10 years there's something to work from with Arsenal. There's a base. This lad is outstanding. Martinelli, I've always been a big fan of his. He reminds me of a young Aguero who is busy just like Alexis Sanchez. I have seen a lot of comments where Arsenal fans on Twitter have said that he reminds them of Alexis Sanchez. I believe he's a combination of a lot of players, but in mentality, that Alexis Sanchez mentality to never give up, that's number one. To hound players, opposition players. Second, got a mentality of Cristiano Ronaldo there, wants to score every game. Or any goal contribution, he needs to be a part of it. And I can feel that, I can see that. If you have seen that in Gabriel Martinelli, comment and let me know what you guys feel about it. And give a like to this video if you believe Gabriel Martinelli is the future. Moving on, we're also going to talk about Calvin Phillips. Now, Aaron Ramsdale posted this on his Instagram, so Gabriel Martinelli commented on it. Calvin Phillips, two players right here. Ben White and Aaron Ramsdale were in the picture. So, Calvin Phillips has been sending out these messages for quite a long time, and And I think there's at one point of time we need to understand that there's something brewing out here, and I'd love to have him at Arsenal though. Is currently undergoing a long-standing injury, which is sad. But yes, I would want him at Arsenal at some point. Him or Declan Rice would be perfect. But again, English tax, I don't know what he's going to cost. I know what Declan is going to cost. I have a sound understanding of that. So West Ham are not going to take anything less than 100. But he's definitely a one-man army in that midfield. Calvin Phillips is also a striking player. Will he come to Arsenal? Would you want him at Arsenal? Let me know in the comments. Calvin Phillips to Arsenal. Let's see if that's going to happen or not. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, cheers, and don't forget to subscribe. And there is a watch-along for the Arsenal versus Leeds game tonight. I'm definitely watching the game with my dad. If you want to be a part of it, just be ready. And if you still have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Christmas? 7 days then. Cheers.